Dear students, good morning to everyone. Today we are going to see the fourth lesson, My Reminiscence. Okay, this one was written by Rabindranath Tagore. Okay, first let us discuss about the author of this lesson. About the author, Rabindranath Tagore, Nobel Prize winning Bengali poet, author, philosopher, artist, and educator, wrote Gitanjali in 1912. My Reminiscence was written and published in his 15th year, shortly before he started on a trip to Europe and America for his failing health in 1912. It was in the course of this trip that he wrote for the first time in the English language for publication. So, listen, Rabindranath Tagore was born on 7th May 1861 in Kolkata. Okay, he was a Bengali poet and short story writer who won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1913. Okay, then he was an author, songwriter, philosopher, artist, and an educator. Okay, then he published several poetry collections like The Golden Boat in 1894 and Gitanjali in 1912. Okay, then he also wrote some 2000 songs which achieved considerable popularity among all classes of Bengali society. Okay, then this lesson, My Reminiscence, were written and published when the author was 15 years old, that is shortly before he started on a trip to Europe and America for his failing health in 1912. Then it was in the course of this trip he used to wrote for the first time in English language for publication. Okay, during the trip he used to start writing for the first time in the English language for publication. Okay, that's all about the author. Now we move on to the lesson, My Reminiscence. Okay, what is meant by reminiscence? It means a story told about a past event remembered by the narrator. Okay, here the narrator is Rabindranath Tagore. The narrator of this lesson is Rabindranath Tagore. So here the Rabindranath Tagore is going to tell about the past event remembered by him. Okay, in this story he is going to tell about the sweet memories of scenery of nature that he faced in his early life. Okay, listen. When I returned home from the outset of my second voyage to England, my brother Jyotirindra and sister-in-law were living in a riverside villa at Chandranahore, and there I went to stay with them. Here what is meant by voyage? Voyage means trip. Okay, trip. Then villa. Villa means home. Okay. So, when Tagore returned home from the outset of his second trip to England, then he planned to stay with his brother for few days. Okay, so his brother Jyotirindra and sister-in-law were lived in a riverside villa at Chandranahore in West Bengal. Okay, so Tagore decided to go there and stay with them. Okay, the gangs again those ineffable days and nights, languid with joy, sad with longing, attuned to the plaintive babbling of the river along the cool shade of its wooded banks. This Bengal sky full of light, this south breeze, this flows of the river, this right royal laziness, this broad leisure stretching from horizon to horizon and from green earth to blue sky, all these were to me as food and drink to the hungry and thirsty. Here it felt indeed like home, and in this I recognized the ministration of a mother. So, listen here. So, while going to Chandranahore, the author revived and shared his sweet memories here. Okay, with a sad longing, Tahur recaptured his incredible days and nights he spent joyfully along the wooden banks of the river Ganges. Okay, Ganga is the name of the river. I think you all know that. Okay, then he said that the gentle, pleasant flow of the river Ganges makes a sad morning sound. Its wooded banks gives a cool shade while they are sitting there. Okay, the sky above the river is bright as the river flows slowly. The breeze is pleasant. At the time, the breeze is pleasant to sit there. Then, at the horizon of the broad river, the green earth and the blue sky met each other. These are all the sceneries where the food and drink for the hungry and thirsty soul of the author. Okay, here the Tagore felt like he is in the home, and in this he realized the act of caring like a mother. These sceneries are taking care like a mother. Okay, that was not so very long ago, and yet time has wrought many changes. Our little riverside nest, clustering under the surrounding greenery, have been replaced by mills which now, dragon like, everywhere rear their hissing sounds, belching forth black smoke in the midday glare of modern life. Even our horse of mental system have been narrowed down to the lowest limit, and hydra headed unrest has invaded every department of life. Maybe this is for the better, but I, for one, cannot account it wholly to the good. So, here listen. The above mentioned scenes are not happened very long ago, okay? But the author noticed many changes had happened when he visited the Ganges river, okay? The river banks are thickly surrounded by green trees and plants. From them hung bunches of nests at the riverside where the birds would chirp, leaves rustled, and the wind rushed, okay? But now the greenery had been replaced by huge dragon like noisy mills which is making a hissing sound and letting out the black smoke. Okay, these changes might be happen for good, but the author could not accept it because the scenery of nature had been missed here. Okay, in the midday glare of modern life, even our horse of mental system have been narrowed down to the lowest limit, and the hydra headed unrest has invaded every department of life. Maybe this is for the better, but I, for one, cannot account it wholly to the good. So, in the olden days, at the midday means there is afternoon time. Okay, at the afternoon time, the people used to take rest. Okay, but now in the modern life, even our hours of mental system, that is the resting time, okay, have been shortened to lowest limit, and unresting time had been started in everyone's life. Yeah, it's a real one. In olden days, the people used to take rest in afternoon times, okay, but in now modern life, there is no time for taking rest in day hours, afternoon times, okay. So, the unresting time had been started in everyone's life. Okay, maybe this one might be for good, but the author could not agree on it. Okay, here what the author want to convey is these changes had removed not only the physical rest but also the mental rest during the dull afternoons. Okay, so many problems have entered into every parts of the human life, like that the author felt. Okay. These lovely days of mine at the riverside passed by like so many dedicated lotus blossoms floating down the scarred stream. Some rainy afternoons I spent in a veritable frenzy, singing away old Vaishnava song to my own tunes, accompanying myself on a harmonium. On other afternoons, we would drift along in a boat, my brother Jyotirindra accompanying my sings with his violin. And as, beginning with the Puravi, we went on varying the mode of our music, with the declining day, we saw on reaching the Behaha, the western sky closed the doors of its factory of golden toys, and the moon on the east rise over the fringe of trees. So, the lovely days of the author at the riverside passed like so many dedicated lotus blossom floating down on the stream. Okay, then the author spent the rainy afternoons in an exciting frenzy way. Okay, then at afternoon he accompanied himself by playing the harmonium, and he sang the old Vaisnava songs with his own tunes. Okay, on other afternoons, sometimes he sailed slowly in a boat sinking Puravi, accompanied by his brother Jyotirindra with his violin. They both kept on varying the mode of their music till the evening. Okay, va? Then, while they reached the Behaga, the western side of the river, the sun rays have been declined on the east side of the river. Then the moon rises over the fringe of the trees. Okay, these are the sceneries that happen when they are in sailing. Okay, a silver streak was formed where the land and water met. Then in the river, the boats were hardly seen. Then the trees bordering the river banks appeared like a dark shadow, and the moonlight glowed over the smooth flowing stream. Okay, up to this scenery in evening, they both will sail in boat by singing the songs. Okay. Then we would row back to the landing steps of the villa and seat ourselves on a quiet quilt spread on the terrace facing the river. By then, a silvery peace rested on both land and water. Hardly any boats were aboard. The fringe of trees on the bank was reduced to a deep shadow, and the moonlight glimmered over the smooth flowing stream. So, here, after that sailing over in the evening, they will row back to the landing steps of their villa. Okay. At night time, Taku sat on the terrace by facing the river. Okay. He viewed the river reflecting the moonlight, dark trees which are bordering the river bank, and a silvery streak which is separating the land and water. Okay. The villa we were living in was known as Morin's Garden. A flight of stone flagged steps led up from the water to a long, broad veranda which formed part of the house. The rooms were not regularly arranged, nor all on the same level, and some had to be reached by short flights of stairs. The big sitting room overlooking the landing steps had stained glass windows with colored pictures. Okay, listen here. Here, the Tagore described the villa which they were living was known as Morin's Garden. Okay, here they named the villa as Morin's Garden. Okay, then he described the rooms arranged in his house. How the rooms are arranged in his house. Okay, it had stone on stairs leading to a broad veranda which formed the part of the house. Then the rooms were not regularly arranged and all were not in the same level. Some rooms had to be reached by short flights of stairs. Then the big sitting room overlooking the landing steps had fitted with stained glass windows with colored pictures. This is how the rooms were arranged in that modern garden. Okay. One of the pictures was of a swing hanging from the branch, half hidden in dense foliage, and in the checkered light and shade of this bower, two persons were swinging, and there was another of a broad flight of steps leading into some castle-like palace up and down, which men and women in festive garb were going and coming. When the light fell on the windows, these pictures shone wonderfully, seeming to fill the riverside atmosphere with holiday music. Some faraway, long forgotten revelry seemed to be expressing itself in silent words of light. The love thrills of the swinging couple make alive with their eternal story the woodlands of the river bank. Okay, listen here. Here the Tagore mentions about the pictures on two stained glass windows. Okay, in one of the picture, a couple were swinging in the swing, hanging from the branch, half hidden in the dense foliage under the shade of the trees. Okay, then when the moonlight fell on the picture means it made alive the love thrills of the swinging couple in the scenery woodlands of the river bank. Okay, then in the second picture, men and women were climbing up and down in grand festive dresses on the flight of steps that leading to a castle like a palace. Okay, when the moonlight fell on this picture means it revealed the grand festive celebration of early days in silence, but more powerfully without the words. Okay, so, one picture had a swing hanging from the dense branch with a couple on it. Then the other picture had people walking on the staircase leading to the castle like palace in grand dresses. Okay, G-A-R-B, garb means dresses. Okay, when the light fell on the glass pictures, it made the scene alive. Okay, like that they are decorated. So, these are the two pictures that mentioned on the stained glass windows. Okay. The topmost room of the house was in a round tower with windows opening to every side. This I used as my room for writing poetry. Nothing could be seen from here save the tops of the surrounding trees and the opening sky. I was then busy with the evening songs, and of this room I wrote, there where in the breast of limitless space clouds are laid to sleep. I have built my house for thee. Opposite. So the topmost room of that modern house was look like in a round tower with windows opening to every side. Okay, ma? Then this is the room where the author used to write his poetry. From that room, nothing could be seen from there. Okay, we can't get the outside view other than the top of the surrounding trees and the opening sky. Okay, so here Tagore wrote many of his famous poems from this room only. Okay, he was busy with the evening songs in that room and he wrote, there were in the breast of limitless space, clouds are laid to be sleep. I have built my house for thee, O Bosie. These are the two poem lines. Okay, like that he used to write many famous poems in that room only. Okay, so he used the top of the room to write many famous poems. Okay, students, the lesson got over. I will give you the homework now. Read the glossary well and write the test. Okay, then try to find out the answer for this fill-ups and send it to me through the Google Classroom. Okay, you have to find out the answer for this book, fill in the blanks, and send it to me through the Google Classroom. I will correct it and tell you the correct answers. Okay, students, I will meet you in the next video. Thank you.